What's up you guys, Steve here with your stimulus check update, and in today's video I'm going to give you the official details on the $1,400 stimulus checks. Now, as you guys know, yesterday I gave you the breaking news as that 591-page bill was unveiled from Congress. I let you guys know about it right away, and I just kind of glanced over the Ways and Means Committee section, giving you the details on the stimulus checks, the unemployment, the child tax rebate, and also the $15 per hour minimum wage. Well, in today's video, I'm going to take some time on that stimulus check section and answer all your questions. So we're going to be covering who's eligible, income requirements. Are these checks going to be garnished for backed up child support? What about ITINs? What about adopted kids? What about all that stuff? So I'm going to cover that in today's video, and I'm going to get you caught up on the latest as of today, February the 20th, regarding all of your questions for the stimulus checks. Now, we're going to dive right in here in just a second, but before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, it'll just take a second. If you like and appreciate these video updates, take a second to smash the like button. I would appreciate it. It helps out the channel. Like button, comments, and sharing these videos out to anybody that you think might be interested. It helps out my channel. Thank you so much. And also, if you're not already part of the viewing community, the Ram fam, why not join and stay up to date on everything that's going on right now by smashing the subscribe button and turning on that notification bell, so that way as soon as I upload videos, you can get notified right away. And be sure to follow me on Instagram as well at SteveRam3. I do my best to respond to as many questions here on YouTube as I can, but there's a lot. There's over 100,000 people on here now, so I miss a lot of them. I try to get to as many as I can, but Instagram is also a great way to get a hold of me as well. But now, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into this bill that just came out yesterday, and let's do a deep dive into all the details for the new $1,400 stimulus checks. They're going to be rolling out here hopefully very soon. So as I mentioned, a link in the description below to the official bill if you'd like to follow along with me. And the stimulus checks, they start on page 454, and you can see line 10, subtitle G, promoting economic security, part 1, 2021 recovery rebates to individuals. And line 19, you can see, in the case of an eligible individual, there shall be allowed a credit against taxes imposed in 2021. So this is going to be your official 2021 recovery rebate. Now on page 455, you can see the amounts for the rebate. It's going to be $1,400 for individuals. This is on line 4, $2,800 for couples filing jointly. And your dependents, line 6, it's going to be $1,400 multiplied by the number of dependents, and there is no limit to the number of dependents you can have. So if you've got 10 children, you're going to be getting an additional $14,000, $1,400 for each one of those dependents is going to be sent your way in your stimulus check. And also, how old do dependents have to be? Well, according to this bill, there is no age limit. So adult dependents and college students, they got left out in the previous rounds. In this one, they're going to get included, and whoever is claiming them as a dependent is going to get money for those dependents. So that's a change to this one. So it's going to be $1,400 for individuals, $2,800 for couples filing jointly, and $1,400 for all your dependents that are eligible of any age. Now on this same page, it clarifies eligible individuals for us, and you can see here pretty much everybody's going to be able to get a check unless you fall into one of these 3 categories. Now the first one is if you're a non-resident alien. So in other words, the main thing that's going to determine if you're going to get this check is if you have a social security number. That's the main priority. Number 2 is if you're claimed as a dependent. If somebody claims you as a dependent on their taxes, you can't get that stimulus check. They're going to get the money for you on their claim, on their stimulus check. And number 3 is if you're an estate or trust. So as long as you don't fall into any of those 3 categories, you can get your stimulus check. Now page 456, the income eligibility requirements, they've kind of changed it up on us a little bit. Now, as you recall before, when you passed the threshold, they kind of incrementally stepped you down and reduced the amount that you got. Well, that has kind of changed here. Line 3, individuals making $75,000 a year or less get a full check. Line 4, add $25,000 to that, or if you make $100,000 a year or more, and it's a hard cutoff regardless of how much of a stimulus check you were due. And the same applies for the others as well. So heads of household, $112,500 a year or less, you get a full check. Line 16, add $37,500 to that, or if you make $150,000 a year or more and it's a hard cutoff. Same thing for joint filers, $150,000 a year or less, add $50,000 to that for $200,000 a year or more. and you get a hard cutoff. Regardless of how many dependents you had, how much of a stimulus check amount you were due, it's a hard cutoff. So they changed the income eligibility requirements for this round of stimulus checks. Now, ITIN numbers on this same page, 456, line 21, it says ITINs. Jumping to the next page, 457, it says in the case of joint filers, if one has an ITIN and one has a social security number, they're not going to lose the entire check. They're still going to be eligible for $1,400. And it also says on line 12, dependents. If they have social security numbers, but the parents have ITIN numbers, the parents will get stimulus checks for the children. So the way this is written, it's pretty much if you have a social security number, you're going to get a check. And if one of the heads of the house has an ITIN number, that doesn't ruin it for the rest of the house. So this is another change that has been implemented in this next round of checks. And the same thing applies for adopted children. Page 458, line 1, it says as long as the kids have a social security number, whoever it is that's claiming them as a dependent, they're going to get the stimulus payment for them as well. And line 8 of the same page, there's actually a special rule for members of the armed forces. It says if one of the heads of the house, one of the spouses, is serving in the armed forces, then that household is going to be eligible for a stimulus check regardless of ITIN. So they're going to get a special rule for serving our country. Now on page 460, they clarify on deceased individuals, and it says on line 23 that anybody who deceased before January 1st of 2021 is not eligible for a stimulus check, but anybody after that, they are eligible to collect a check. And you can see on page 461, once again, there's a special rule for those who have served in the armed forces. Starts on line 5. It says with those that were filing jointly, if one of them deceased before January 1st of 2021, but they served in the armed forces, then it says the remaining spouse, they're eligible to receive a check as well. Now you can see on page 463, line 21, that the income eligibility is going to be based off of your 2020 taxes. Now, if they don't have your 2020 taxes on file, they're going to base it off of your 2019 taxes. So in other words, let's say in 2019 you weren't eligible because you made too much money, but in 2020 you made a lot less and now you're eligible. You're going to want to file your taxes like right now so that way you can claim that stimulus checks, and you might be able to claim the previous ones as well. Now on the flip side, let's say in 2019 you were eligible, but now in 2020 you made too much money and you're not eligible. You might want to take into consideration possibly delaying your taxes so that way you can get that stimulus check, because they've also said too that if they overpay you on a check or you get it and you weren't eligible before, you don't have to pay it back. So it's going to be based off of your 2020 taxes. That's priority. But if they don't have that on file, it's going to be based off of your 2019 taxes. Now, a lot of people were asking about the prepaid debit cards that received them before. They said, are they going to be refilling them? What's the case with the cards? Well, on page 467, you can see on line 7, it says restrictions of the use of certain previously issued prepaid debit cards. And what they're pretty much going to be saying is they're not going to be refilling those cards. So they're going to be, if they send out cards, they're going to be sending out completely new ones. So they're not going to be reusing old prepaid debit cards. And for those of you wondering, is my stimulus check going to be garnished for backed up child support or owed debts? Well, here it is, page 472, very first line. It says exceptions from reductions or offsets. And it says any refund payable by reason of section blah, 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 IRS 1986, blah, blah, blah. Any such refund payable by reason of subsection of this section shall not be. And then they list all these codes, which pretty much says your stimulus checks will not be garnished for backed up child support or owed debts. So even if you owe those, you're still supposed to get your stimulus check. And if you're wondering, so when is this all going to be unfolding? When are they going to vote on this? And when are we going to be getting that stimulus check? Well, I did a video update on the latest information we have on the schedule from Congress right here. Be sure to check it out so that way you can see when they're going to be voting on this in the House, when it needs to be passed, and when you'll be getting these stimulus checks. So be sure to check it out right here, you guys. And like I said, as more information rolls out, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date here on the channel. And if you made it this far and you haven't already, why don't you go ahead and take a second to smash the like button? I would appreciate it. It helps out the channel. And if you're not already part of the viewing community, smash the subscribe button, join the Ram fam, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on Instagram as well at SteveRam3. Well, you guys, I hope this reaches you well. I hope you have a blessed Saturday. Take care. God bless. I'll see you in the next video. This is Steve.